Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
Hey guys, second show in the new place.
Nice.
It's starting to become normal.
Yeah, you can clearly see that I'm still living out of boxes, and you have to kind of walk a maze to get here to the table. But I'm getting used to it.
I like that you've completed your apartment wall by wall. There's sections that nothing has happened yet, but then there's sections that look like a normal living space. I'm like, okay, that's a way to do it.
Here's the area you spend most of your time.
Yes.
Look, it was super important to get the TV up and the couch in place so that I could actually watch movies for this stupid fucking podcast I'm on. Oh, wait a second. This podcast, in fact.
Well, it looks very cozy over there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I got that really cool old 70s lamp that I love.
It's such a good lamp. Oh my God. I love those big glass colored lamps.
Yeah. They told me that I can't have any hanging hooks in the wall, and that's going to be a problem because I've got one of those really cool hanging lamps, and I'm going to make it work.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a hook in the ceiling.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you going to construct some kind of elaborate scaffolding to make this?
No, I am not. I am going to make my landlord very angry by putting a big hook in the ceiling.
As long as on your way out, you fill it with Crest toothpaste, they'll never know.
See? There you go.
That's what I do.
They're like, why is this red and white striped hole right here?
Yeah.
It's minty fresh.
It smells so good in here.
Oh, man, you guys. So same thing. I've been unpacking, doing all sorts of stuff. And so not a lot of time to watch stuff, but I did see something kind of cool. Vanessa, if you saw it, I bet you hated it. It was called Jolt.
I did not see it.
Have you heard of it, though?
No.
It is on Prime Video, and it's got Kate Beckinsale. Remember last week we were talking a little bit of Gunpowder Milkshake?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is also a John Wick clone with Kate Beckinsale in the lead, but it's almost kind of a Crank movie.
Oh, okay.
And that she has difficulty controlling her emotions. And so she has this setup where she's hooked up to all these wires that are hidden under her clothes and everything. And when she feels herself starting to get psychopathic and homicidal, she clicks a little button and it zaps her and kind of reminds her to calm the fuck down.
Aversion therapy.
Right. And she ends up, I'll just say that she loses somebody and decides she's going to go find out who did it because, of course, she's a badass.
Yeah.
Wearing ridiculous heels while she's doing all
this
ass kicking.
It's fucking Kate Beckinsale, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
She's blonde in this, so it took me a minute to even realize who she was. I was like, who is this smoking hot chick? I'm not into blondes, but there is something about her. And I realized, it's because she's that smoking hot brunette I have always loved. And it's good. It's not great. You can tell that there was not the budget that a John Wick has. The fight choreography is not nearly as interesting, or maybe it is, but it's not shot as interestingly. And I don't know. I had a good time with it though, and it is on Prime.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, I saw a film that I did not like for sure. So question mark on Jolt, but I'd be interested in seeing it. I checked out Chaos Walking, which I got as kind of a discounted rental on Amazon. It was something that I've been interested in for a while. It stars Spider-Man.
Which Spider-Man?
Say that's
Kid Spider-Man, most recent Spider-Man.
Oh, why can't I think of his name?
The Spider-Verse one?
Cute.
There's
the Marvel Sony Spider-Man.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't.
God,
Oh,
why am I forgetting his name? Anyway,
somebody's yelling it at
I
us right now.
know.
Hi, thank you.
It's going to be me in the future when I'm listening to this again. I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with you? I love him. But anyway, I was really excited because the plot looked really interesting. I'd seen the trailer months ago, and I was shocked to find out that it had already been released digitally. And I was like, oh, how did I miss that? Dang it.
I've never even heard of this.
So
Wow.
the plot, you might have, because the title has nothing to do with the plot. It's a world in which men, like a bunch of colonists have landed on a foreign planet, and men cannot control their thoughts, and
Yes,
everything they
okay.
think is said aloud.
I saw that trailer.
Yes, exactly. And then, of course, like a girl appears out of nowhere, and there shouldn't be any women on this planet. Sounds like maybe. And so,
Because all the men are just saying what they're thinking. All the women are like, fuck it, we're out.
yeah, exactly.
Tom Holland?
Tom Holland. Yes, absolutely. He's great. But the movie is really meandering and boring, and it's awful. But I think I know why, because we got to the end of the movie. I was watching it with a friend of mine, and I was like, this feels like it's based on a book.
I was just going to say, is this a YA?
It's a book series. It's an absolute YA book series. Yep, that's it. That's what happened. So I was like, no wonder it sucks. It's like totally that lost in translation of just, yeah, it just wasn't, it just was not a fun movie. Like Tom Holland, although I love his acting, his character is annoying as fuck after about 2 minutes in this movie. And he's constantly like, whoa, man. Did she hear what I said? Oh man, she heard what I said. I'm going to stop talking, but now I should stop talking. But now I should, like, it's just nonstop that happening. There's like no cipher or filter or like quieting of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, that does sound annoying.
But Mads Mikkelsen's in it, but I didn't really like him in it, but that's fine.
Wow.
I know.
Mads can just about save anything.
He doesn't really say much in this, and I think that's why he's a pretty important character, but first of all, he's a villain. So, you know, in Rogue One, how he just like shows up for 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. It felt kind of like that. It's like he's here and he looks cool, but he doesn't do much. And then what he does do is kind of irritating. And I'm like, man, you just hired him because he has a cool face and then threw some fur coats on him and you were done for the day.
He does have a cool face.
He does.
The idea of somebody saying everything you're thinking in a book, I could kind of see, because you can sort of gloss over and just,
because your internal,
but in a movie you gotta
just
actually hear that now.
And it's from every character, so except for of course the girl. So you're just like, and the douchebags say douchebag things in their head, and
unless the movie's rated like at least a hard R, I guarantee you the guys are not saying everything that's popping into their heads.
Oh my God. Fair. Very fair.
Yeah, that is true.
Not a YA concept.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I watched one that kind of surprised me. A Vinegar Syndrome pickup. Scanner Cop.
Scanner Cop? That sounds like many films mushed together.
It is a loose sequel to Scanners.
What? The Cronenberg?
Yeah, the Cronenberg film.
What?
It's a guy who's got whatever that was.
Yeah.
Or his dad had it, so he has it. And the opening scene is his dad, going insane, and the little heads coming out of his forehead.
The veins.
No, the like full-on heads actually come out of his forehead in this one. The veins happen, but then full little faces come out.
Whoa!
I gotta see this now.
It's a surprisingly well put together movie.
This has to be from the 90s?
Late 80s, early 90s, right around in there time. Yeah, there's 2. It was a box set. I haven't watched the second one yet. But it's well acted. The concepts are well delivered. The story's, okay. But I think, and a lot of that could be because I was expecting Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and it looks fantastic. Apparently this is his first release on any kind of disc.
Wow.
I think it had a VHS release, but hasn't been around for a very, very long time. Yeah, well worth watching. I was really surprised.
That's so weird. I mean, Scanners has had its own set of sequels anyway.
Yeah.
So this is like a side quill or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Scanner Cop.
I don't think I even realized that. And they weren't even sued. Like, hey,
I
you
think-
stole our property.
I'd have to look again, but I think one of the producers from Scanners is involved in Scanner Cop, or
Oh,
somebody
shit.
associated with the original.
What a bad title. Is he, but I assume he's a cop.
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, he can manipulate people and he can do things, and
Huh.
the concept of what he can do
Mhm.
is not fully executed. It's sort of one of those things like, well, why don't you just do this and solve your problem? But still, it's a fun watch, fun B grade, low budget, late 80s, early 90s film that is better than it usually might expect it to be.
Maybe I'll have to pick it up because I'm always looking for Vinegar Syndrome movies that are watchable. And this sounds
really a crapshoot with them.
It's so you never know. I have so many duds, but maybe I'll get it at Crypticon because it sounds like they're gonna have a
Vinegar
booth.
Syndrome does have a booth there, and the guy who runs it, at least the last couple times, really knows what he's talking about.
Last time I talked to him, I asked him for suggestions, and he did not. He was not helpful.
Maybe it wasn't the same guy.
It might
They
not have
had
been the
two
same
last
guy.
time. One was really good. The other guy didn't say anything.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
the good guy was on a break.
might have been. I know there was a lot of guessing involved, and I was like, I like these 4 Vinegar Syndrome movies, and he's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that was not the guy I was talking about, because he was like, oh, well, then there's this. Oh, hey, what this one? Oh, and this one. Let me tell you, this is my favorite. It's like, wow, are you Vinegar Syndrome worker? He was like,
He
knew.
loves his work.
Yes.
Next up, Scanner Landscaper,
I would watch that for sure.
Scanner Teacher, Scanner Lady Doctor. Oh, I guess that's just a doctor, right? We don't have to say lady anymore.
Oh my God, that's not even a good joke.
I started watching American Horror Stories.
Oh man,
I saw that.
Yeah, so they're doing little vignettes.
So now this anthology series is doing it like the old style anthology series, where like
per
2
episode.
episodes for each story, and stuff like that. And the first story, I watched the first 2 episodes. I was intrigued. I thought it was halfway decent.
Nice.
Now it could be like every other American Horror Story where I like the first 2 or 3 episodes and then I end up just going, this is awful, and moving on. But I don't know. You guys? No?
No.
Nobody started
Not
watching this yet?
seen
Not yet.
it.
I've been Evil has been my current TV show.
Oh,
so
good. I'm so glad to hear that.
So that once I'm done with that, I'll probably do that. But I think I'm on the last episode of the first season.
Oh, and you've got Paramount Plus, so you can watch season 2. Okay. Oh, I can't wait to talk to you guys about season 2.
Yeah, I need to catch up. I'm a little behind on Evil, but that's okay.
It's real good. Although the scene where I forgot the guy's name, but where Luke Cage gets a crap kicked out of him for a couple episodes in a row. It's not like by the time it's like, dude, come on, man. I'm so used to being so tough. But that episode in the hospital,
yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, there's some good stuff for a a network television show.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty strong.
Well,
Yes.
yeah. So I saw something.
Wow, it looks like you're 0 for 2 of your movies.
I had some really good picks last week, but I checked out. Did you guys see Till Death? The Megan Fox.
No, but it looks bad.
Like it's.
I thought it was a super interesting decision for her to take a movie like this.
I think it's interesting to see her in a movie like this. I wouldn't say she's great in it, and I wouldn't say the movie has much point to it. It's not as good as Gerald's Game, and I mean Gerald's Game's good, and it's gross and it's rough to watch, but
is Till Death
it's a very similar concept.
Flanagan film, or is it
No
a Stephen King thing?
It's got a. Have you heard anything about it? Okay, it's got a. It feels like it should be akin to Gerald's Game.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, all you're really told from the trailer is that a woman is at like an anniversary retreat with her husband, and she wakes up handcuffed to him, and he's dead. And at the same time, some people try to break in, and so obviously, she's trying to hide and get away, but she's tied to her husband. So it just was long, and I just don't know why I was watching it, I guess.
Oh
I mean,
my.
there was a few moments where it was kind of fun to like watch her try to navigate like dealing with this body and like, doing a couple of smart things because, usually they make people don't run upstairs. Oh, I guess you went upstairs. It wasn't that. So I appreciated that. But I also was like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, it could have been, I wish it had been more like Saw. I think there could have been a bunch of really cool, weird setups that she had to like get through challenges for. And it felt like they were thinking about it and decided not to. And the plot was just too bland for it. Like they needed more stuff to happen.
What did you watch this on? Was this made for something?
I think it was either Hulu or Amazon. I wish I could remember now, but it is available free to watch, I believe. Am I crazy? Oh my God, maybe not. Maybe it's $6. I don't know.
Well,
Who knows?
I guess that's what I was asking. Is she? I mean, has her star fallen enough that she is now doing low budget indies? Or?
I think she just wants to check out. Like, I don't know. I feel like she wants to be challenged and she wants to not be typecast. So this was definitely a film that I felt like it was a little different for her. She wasn't just in shorts bending over. So that was a big plus.
Well, I'm out then.
See, that's what you do though, is you get your, whatever your niche is, and you do some big dumb action movie that pays you $400 million to be in it. And then you go off and you do a bunch of indie stuff.
Sure.
And then you go back and the Del Toro method of film.
Yeah. I mean, everybody from actors, writers, directors do that. One for the studio, one for myself.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
So
yeah.
The return of Bruno Mattei.
Oh, all right.
It's been a whole 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
No, it's been a while since I watched a Bruno Mattei.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Severin released Strike Commando 1 and 2. I haven't watched 2 yet, but I did watch 1.
Dang it. That's one I want to see.
I have to loan that one to you. It is, it's Rambo.
Right.
It's his version of Rambo. And it is ridiculous. It is fantastic. It's Bruno Mattei stupidity all over the place with total destruction and guys getting POW captured and standing up and being manly about it and killing people with a one-armed M60, like a Rambo 2 style. It's exactly what you'd expect it to be and perfectly well executed. Look forward to seeing the second one.
And that's not available to stream anywhere, I'm guessing.
I don't think so. I know Severin does a lot of their stuff on that FlixFling thing or something, and sometimes YouTube rentals. So it might be.
Yeah, I know that their stuff pops up on Amazon Prime too, so I might not be able to wait. Also, I don't have a Blu-ray player anymore, so.
Oh, wait. What?
I need to.
Did it die?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need to get one, and then I got to figure out how to make it fit with the look I've got going on here.
YouTube rental.
Excellent.
Do you have
99 cents?
Do you like video games? Because you could just get a PlayStation.
I like video games enough to know that I shouldn't have a PlayStation.
See, that's the problem I have. That's why I don't even play them, and I make trailers for them because I know I will never be seen again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every once in a while I dive back in, but I'm lucky in that once I like one, I can play it forever. Like I yesterday was playing the first Halo game.
Whoa.
On my Xbone.
Wow.
And it's still awesome.
That's actually pretty incredible. I love that.
The last gaming machine I had was a PlayStation.
The first PlayStation?
The first PlayStation.
I think mine was not long after that. I think it was PlayStation, and then I got like the Nintendo GameCube. I think was my last one.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. I mean, everybody else has them. No, I did finally get a PS4 just so I can have, first of all, a Blu-ray player, and second of all, access to
I could get this $40 Blu-ray player over here, or I could find $300 PlayStation.
Yes. Well,
I do want to get, although I keep hesitating to get it because I'm afraid it's going to open up a whole new realm of buying shit, but I'd like to get a region free. Blu-ray player.
Oh man,
Yeah. I thought you had one. I thought that you were sending me a link to one for $99 or something.
I just haven't picked it up.
Oh, okay.
But,
as somebody who lived overseas and then moved here and had a slew, like 3 boxes full of at least of Region 2 stuff, you can get something like a cheapo one for like $20 where you literally put in a code and it's fine. But they will die after 1 year. I found one a couple years back that was Philips, and I got it from my mom so she could watch movies that I bought for her. And it was fucking awesome, and it's been living nonstop. So I would, if you can get one that's an actual good brand, I'd go for it.
Okay. Yeah. I think that our buddy Wade was like, hey, I've got a Blu-ray player for you. So
okay, cool.
Fantastic.
but it's going to be a hand-me-down. So
Perfect.
Hey,
It's the way
as
to
long
go.
as it works.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Should we take a little break?
Sure.
Sounds good.
And we are coming back. We're coming back with my pick, which was Future Imperfect.
So, more soldiers of the future for Captain Power.
Yeah, now we're part of the battle. Look out! TV show fires back. Hey, what's that?
I'm with Lord Dread now. The Phantom Striker jet fires invisible beams back at the TV. Or the Power Jet XT7.
I don't believe it. Believe it.
Scorer, be hit with the Phantom Striker. The power of the future.
It's in my hands.
Believe it.
Captain Power, jets and figures sold separately. Batteries not included.
And we're back. This was my subgenre pick, so I'm going to go first.
Cool.
Fine.
And just to remind everybody, this is the idea behind this episode was it had to take place in the future of the time that the movie was made, but in our actual past.
I'm curious how you put the title for this one together when you come up with whatever the title will be. Because I was, typing it in, prepping on the editing gear. I'm like, the hell? But so it's like 5 or 6 words long. Like I could probably shrink that down, but that cracks me up. So I left it.
Well, with that in mind, I chose from 1972, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Now, the biggest, the newest, the most exciting of all the Planet of the Apes pictures. Climaxed by the spectacular Revolt of the Apes. The most awesome, the most horrifying spectacle in the annals of science fiction. First pampered as pets, then abused as servants, now oppressed as slaves.
Order full mobilization of all security forces, police, militia, and reserve defense units. See that every entrance into the city is cordoned off immediately.
Yes, sir. Our control methods to include the use of tear gas and sedation dunks.
There will be but one control method. Shoot to kill.
This will be the end of human civilization, and the world will belong to a planet of apes!
Watch the screen explode as man faces ape in the ultimate revolution.
Where there is fire, there is smoke. And in that smoke, from this day forward, my people will plot and plan for the inevitable day of man's downfall. And that day is upon you now!
Ooh, this is so exciting.
This had a budget of $1.7 million and a box office of $9.7 million
Whoa.
in 1972.
Was
Wow.
this the 3rd or 4th
This
sequel?
is the, let me think, I think it's the 4th. No, Fourth, yes.
Yeah.
Man, people love those Planet of the Apes.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Not the critics so much.
No.
And not the audience on this one either.
Oh, no.
Rotten Tomatoes, 50%. The audience has it at 46%.
Oh, no. Okay.
Director was J. Lee Thompson, who had directed Guns of Navarone, the original Cape Fear, and a string of Charles Bronson movies, and a bunch of other stuff. It was written by Paul Dane, who wrote Goldfinger, Murder on the Orient Express, and Beneath, Escape, Conquest, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. He wrote basically every sequel for the original Planet of the Apes series. It stars Roddy McDowall.
Yeah.
270 credits, including all of the Planet of the Apes movies, The Poseidon Adventure, Legend of Hell House, Fright Night, 1 and 2, of course. Don Murray, who is one of that guy. He's one of those that guys. 90 credits. He was in Twin Peaks Season 3, The Plainsman, the Marilyn Monroe movie, Bus Stop. Just one of those guys you're like, oh, it's that guy. And Ricardo Montalban, who was in the movie just before this, Escape from Planet of the Apes, and Star Trek II, of course, The Naked Gun, 170 other credits, including a 154-episode stint as Mr. Rourke on Fantasy Island.
Oh,
Wow.
Never saw
that
it.
went for a long time.
It went for like 8 years.
Wow. Holy shit.
This movie takes place in the distant future, the year 1991.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Wow. That was a really short guess.
So it starts off with a little preamble, and we find out that in 1983, which is several years after Escape from the Planet of the Apes, an interstellar disease kills the world's population of cats and dogs, leaving humans with no pets.
Oh, that's really sad.
To replace them, humans start keeping monkeys and apes as household pets, and then in time, they notice the apes' capacity to learn and adapt, so they start to train them for menial household tasks and stuff like that. So by 1991, the former United States of America, I can't remember what it's called now, but most of North America has become this kind of oppressive and fascist police superstate culture. And they've got the apes all in uniforms and running errands and stuff like this. And the apes are divided into, their particular breed, but also their kind of political...
Like the gorillas and the orangutans.
Exactly. Like we're going to see as we get into the first Planet of the Apes. So the gorillas wear red jumpsuits, the chimpanzees wear green jumpsuits, and the orangutans wear orange jumpsuits, which seems like...
a little on the nose.
Yeah, it seems a little on the nose. Really, you guys? In the opening scene, we run into Armando, who is Ricardo Montalban. Now, have you seen any of these movies?
I saw the first one, and I have the box set, but I have not cracked into any of the others.
The first three are really strong. And in the third one is a time traveling movie where Cornelius and Zira end up in present day America.
Whoa.
And they're celebrities.
Oh.
Because everyone's just like, what's up with these talking apes? And the politicians are actually just like, it's like a CIA kind of thing going on. They find out the truth, which is that in the future, apes will run Earth. And they're basically, they find out that Zira is pregnant also.
Uh-oh.
And they're basically like, shit, this is how that future starts out. And so the CIA wants them killed.
Sure. That makes sense.
They're not letting the general public know that this was the situation and that they come from a Earth that was run by apes. So at the end of Escape from the Planet of the Apes, they are killed, and their baby is supposedly killed as well. But Ricardo Montalban he was a circus owner, and he switched out the babies. And so the baby that was killed was a non-intelligent ape baby, or chimpanzee baby. And he's now been raising their chimpanzee who can speak and is played by Roddy McDowall, who is the son of the Roddy McDowall character from Escape.
Can I just say that man, the reboot does not mention any of this. And I'm kind of shocked.
I love that reboot.
Oh man, so good.
So
It is very good.
and these movies, the first three, like I said, are fantastic. This one starts to slip, and the next one slips even further. They just didn't have the money to do all the amazing effects, the makeup effects. So anyway, in the opening scene, Armando, who is Ricardo Montalban, and Caesar, Roddy McDowell,
I remember that name.
they are visiting a city to distribute flyers for their upcoming circus appearance because Caesar helps with the circus. But it's the first time Caesar has been in a big city and seen now what the world looks like, which is all of these other chimpanzees and apes wandering around and doing tasks and being treated very, very badly by humans. So he's not really cool. And Ricardo keeps telling him, shh, don't talk or we're going to be in trouble. Because for some reason, it seems like there is still this idea that somehow Cornelius and Zira's son didn't die. So I'm not sure why the authorities are suspicious of this at all, but they are. And so at one point, they see an ape being beaten by a bunch of black-clad police officers, and Caesar shouts, "Lousy human bastards!"
Oh, no. As you do.
And very quickly, Armando tells the police, "No, that was me." And they're like, if you remember Ricardo's accent, and they're like, "You don't sound like the guy. I need you to shout lousy human bastards." So he's like, "Lousy human bastards." I guess it might be. So they take him in for questioning, and Caesar gets kind of shuffled off, and he ends up being picked up and put into an ape auction, basically, very much like an old slave auction where he's standing on a little thing and being bid on.
Oh.
He gets bought by basically the fascist governor, Breck, who was played by that Don Murray guy. So he gets brought in and starts being taught how to pour a drink for the governor and stuff like this. And the guy that's teaching him is like, boy, this ape is pretty smart. He's learning very quickly. Caesar's trying to occasionally screw things up so he doesn't seem too smart. Meanwhile, Armando is in this interrogation room where they are really grilling him on this circus ape that he was with. And I'm just like, why are you guys so sure that this is Caesar? They just seem very suspicious of all this. They finally say, okay, we believe you, but we've got one last thing that we're going to hook you up to. I'm trying to think what they call it. It's like the authenticator. Hook him up to the authenticator. And he's like, what's that? And they're like, oh, it's nothing. It basically forces you to tell the truth on any question we ask you. And he's, okay. And he's like, I don't think that's necessary, is it? I mean, you just said you believed me. And they're like, oh, we do. It's just a formality. So rather than get hooked to that, he breaks free of them and leaps out a window to his death.
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
Okay.
Whoa.
That makes everything he said earlier very suspicious.
I bet. Weirdly.
When Caesar finds out this has happened, Caesar has decided, fuck this. And he's going to put together a simian rebellion.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he basically leads an ape revolt against ape management. And then the last 25 minutes of the movie is this very violent and climactic ape war where he basically gets everybody up in arms and is just like, are we going to let them do this? Now, keep in mind, none of the apes that he's talking to can speak, but they can understand English.
Oh, sure.
And so they're all very surprised that Caesar can speak all of this shit. They, I won't give away exactly how this ends, but the way the series works is it's all moving towards things that have already been discussed in the previous Planet of the Apes movies in their past. And so it doesn't quite mesh up with a lot of the stuff they're saying, but it kind of feels right to me that they would screw things up in history.
Oh,
so,
sure.
Stuff like that. But there is a ridiculously corny final line from Caesar where he's holding up his gun and turning to all the apes and he says, "Tonight we have seen the birth of the Planet of the Apes."
Oh my God.
There you go, right? Got the
Finally.
name already.
Right.
So basically, the new reboot started with the fourth film.
Yeah.
I mean, not the storyline, but the concept.
Yeah, and I really love that new reboot. The 3 movies I just thought
They're
got
so
better
good.
and better as they went along. So, and I did love that there were a lot of nods to a lot of the stuff that had happened in the early movies. I got a little bit of trivia.
Ooh.
So I told you that the budget was $1.7 million, which is a considerable drop from the first movie and even the second movie and even the third movie. They started realizing that these movies were super popular. They started realizing, why are we spending so much money on these movies that people are just going to come and see anyway?
Oh, no. Why?
So how can we save a couple of bucks? The jumpsuits worn by the apes to save the cost of fake fur for the crowd of ape extras were leftover costumes from the 1964 to 68 TV series Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Huh.
The ape management men's insignia patches and computer and electronic cabinets all came from The Time Tunnel, which was an Irwin Allen series. The large set that comprised Ape Management Center, where apes were processed and trained to become docile servants, is a redressed set of Admiral Matthews' office and the Triton Control Complex from The City Beneath the Sea. And Governor Breck's ape auction throne was first used in Taylor's spaceship from the first Planet of the Apes movie. The same chairs were used in the Earth Force spaceships in the TV series Babylon 5.
Wow.
The budgets on the Apes movies were constantly trimmed because 20th Century Fox was still in financial trouble following the huge flops of Cleopatra, which was from 63, Star from 68, and Hello Dolly from 69. This is 72. So in 5 short years, Star Wars is going to make them feel a lot better about the money they have spent.
Yeah.
To promote this movie, 20th Century Fox arranged a bizarre publicity stunt, a contest held in Century City to find Miss Beautiful Ape from among 5 young women in bikinis wearing ape masks.
Oh my God. That's so good.
That's so 70s.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then finally, now I was telling you about that last 25-minute scene. It is like epic. It looks like there is a shit ton going on here. Director J. Lee Thompson tried to frame every shot as wide as possible and use strong primary colors of black and red during the revolt to conceal subpar ape makeup and make it appear as though an army of hundreds was clashing throughout the city when actually only dozens of extras were used over a few blocks. And it does not look like that at all. I mean, it looks like, $1 million. It looks like $1.7 million. You guys. That's my movie. It's not great. I still love all of these movies, but this is a definite downturn from the first 3.
Yeah. If you came to the 8 movies through the reboots, you go, I'm going to go watch the originals, you're in for a big surprise.
Yeah, the makeup. I still think the makeup on the first couple of movies looks great, but I have talked to young people who are just like, no, this is awful. Oh, is it? Okay.
Suspending disbelief nowadays is a lot harder. Like I'm really glad I saw the first one at least before seeing the reboots, but God, that sounds really fun regardless. Like that whole plot. Yeah. It sounds awful. Why didn't they just kill all the ape servants once they found out that the future is filled with apes? Why didn't they just be like, oh, sorry, the disease is also in our monkey friends, so let's just go ahead and put them all down?
It does seem like if you're worried about the apes taking over, that training them how to do everything that humans use is a bad idea.
We deserve everything we got.
There you go. Re-put yourself.
You monsters?
You did it. You finally did it.
I saw a tweet the other day that I'm like, I don't know if this is serious or if somebody's just trying to be funny, but it was on a series of plot hole problems, where people talk about things that they really just didn't understand the movie. And the one was what they don't explain in Planet of the Apes how they got the Statue of Liberty to their planet. That is either incredibly clever or incredibly stupid.
That's got to be somebody trolling and waiting for the comments.
So good. Oh, well, on that note, I chose a very special film that has been in my to-watch list for many years. So I was really excited to see that it matched your criteria. And that is the 1987 movie, The Running Man.
In the year 2017, an innocent man accused of a crime has a choice: hard time or prime time.
Sensational. Perfect contestant. I want him.
He must pay or play the running man.
On your mark.
I'll be back.
Go!
The highest rated TV show in history.
Guess they want us to stay.
It's a game between life and death.
Give you a lift?
Arnold Schwarzenegger is the running man. He's playing for a prize. The prize is his life.
How about the light?
The running man.
Yeah, which I'd
This will be
never
interesting.
seen. Yeah.
I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this.
Oh, man. Well, before I get too far into it, the year that this takes place, so it does meet the criteria, is 2017 and kind of 2018, though they don't mention that. So come and gone. We have experienced not this future
Pretty close, though.
to it. I
No, I
haven't
meant
been watching.
time-wise, it's pretty close.
Oh, okay. I was like, I haven't been watching public TV in a while. Like, it's very possible, but tell me more. The Rotten Tomatoes for this is 65% from critics and 60% from audience, which is a little bit lower than I would expect. The budget for it was $27 million, and the box office was $38.1.
Oh, that's all. Boy, why did I think this
Yeah.
was a huge hit?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a sleeper. Like, I mean, that's still a lot of money, but it made its budget back, but that's only like a 10 million return. Produced by Rob Cohen and directed by Paul Michael Glaser?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. Like Starsky, or was he Hutch? I
He
can't
was
remember.
Starsky.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a
Nice.
weird movie for him to direct.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I'll get more into that later in the trivia, but yes, that is correct. This is not a name that you would be like, that director, that makes sense. No, it's Starsky from Starsky and Hutch. He has 40 acting credits. He also starred in Fiddler on the Roof. He only has 21 directing credits, which is mostly
Only?
random. I mean, mostly random TV stuff, which is why I'm like,
Okay.
It's like Criminal Minds, Third Watch, Judging Amy, 96 episodes of Kazam. Or no, I'm sorry. I take that back. An episode from the 96 series Kazam? No, the movie Kazam. My notes are not specific enough. I
The
apologize.
Sinbad movie?
He also did The Cutting Edge, The Air Up There, and he actually started directing with about 5 episodes of Starsky and Hutch, is where he got his feet wet. The writers for this include 2. It's based on the novel by Stephen King, or is it a short story?
It's a novel.
Okay.
Writing is Richard Bachman.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And the screenplay was written by Stephen E. D'Souza.
Stephen E. D'Souza.
41 films, including Die Hard.
Yes.
Die Hard 2.
Oh, okay.
48 Hours, Commando, Street Fighter, Judge Dredd, Flintstones.
Good Lord.
Fuck.
Early TV like Gemini Man, $6 Million Man, and Bionic Woman.
I was being impressed, and then you said Flintstones. It's
I
like, oh,
know. It
okay.
really turns downwards. I should have just not written it down.
I know his name very well, but I had no idea that he wrote this. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like a D'Souza script.
No.
Yeah, I think that they're trying really hard to be true to Stephen King to a certain extent. And you know what? I don't know because I haven't read it.
Yeah.
It is nothing like the book.
There's weird production stuff, which I'll get to later, that might be the reason.
It's not like Lawnmower Man bad, but it's definitely not like the original. Sorry.
Oh, Lawnmower Man. So this movie is starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as Ben Richards.
Never heard of him. Who is that?
We talked about his son in that.
We did, yeah. He's just some old guy who's like, he was a mayor or governor? Governor of California. That guy. You know him. Anyway. And Maria Conchita Alonso, who is kind of playing the love/hate interest in this movie. She has 112 credits. She is a Cuban actress who did 10 telenovelas, so really wildly popular in Spanish-speaking countries. And she was also in several pageants, runner-up of Miss Venezuela and 7th for Miss World.
Young Kelly Young had quite the crush on a young Maria Conchita Alonso.
She was starring in Predator 2, where I think it's probably most likely where you would have known her from.
I think I knew her from this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure.
She had a spike where she was real popular for a few years and did a whole lot of stuff. And
was she in your notes? Was she in Stakeout? Was that her?
I did not
Richard
have
Dreyfuss
that written down, but
that could be.
Yeah, I know she was in Vampire's Kiss, Saints, 62 episodes of Saints and Sinners, Colors, Extreme Prejudice.
Yeah.
Colors, yeah.
Extreme Prejudice. One. Oh, that was the one I really fell in love with her in.
I'm glad that any of those make sense to you because I have not seen any of these movies. Also starring Yaphet Kotto, one of the prisoners, / one of the friends. You would know him from Alien as Parker, and several other amazing things like Live and Let Die and Midnight Run. Marvin.
And the song's in my head.
I know, instantly. Same. Marvin J. McIntyre is also a prisoner. He plays the techie prisoner. He was not as well known. He was in Back to the Future 3, Pale Rider, Chud 2, and Twins. Pretty small roles. And then Richard Dawson is the big name in this.
That's right.
He plays the host of this insane film. He has... He hosted the original Family Feud, so they found the right guy for this. He knows how to play a game show host. He did 2,335 episodes of Family Feud. He was also in Hogan's Heroes as Newkirk, and he was a panelist on Match Game for 124 episodes. Yeah. 54 episodes of Merv Griffin Show as well. And I think at one point in the crowd scene, I think I saw Stephen King. They don't list any of the crowd, but I was like, those big ass glasses and that mangy hair. I'm like, I'm sure that's fucking Stephen King. And I looked through the credits, didn't say it was not in the trivia, so don't quote me on it. I have no firm anything other than I fucking thought I saw him in a shot. So we also have a bunch of really cool people playing the hunters, but I feel like I should get into that after the plot because there's some really interesting names of people who were basically sent to murder and kill contestants on the game show. So the tagline, the year is 2019. The finest men in America don't run for president. They run for their lives. A little clunky.
But wasn't this supposed to take place in 2017 and part of 2018?
Maybe the year was 2017 and I typed it wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's very possible.
Yeah, sure.
I can't think of any other reason why that would have been. The scroll at the beginning that explains the setup of what's going on in the world. By 2017, the world economy has collapsed. Food, natural resources, and oil are in short supply. A police state divided into paramilitary zones, ruled with an iron hand. Television is controlled by the state. All art, music, and communications are censored. No dissent is tolerated, and yet a small resistance movement has managed to survive in the underground. When high-tech gladiators are not enough to suppress the people's yearning for freedom, more direct methods have become necessary. So that sets us up for basically a totalitarian state with no art and no joy and no real freedoms, except everyone gets to watch this ridiculous show. we meet Ben Richards, who is a police helicopter pilot. Which is also Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he's ordered to fire on innocent civilians who are in a mob fighting over food. He refuses, as he says they are all unarmed, and then basically is fired from his job immediately and imprisoned, where they say that he was in charge of this giant murder spree and dub him the Bakersfield Butcher. So really easy fallout, essentially. They're just like, oh, this guy's going to tell on us and our shitty methods. Let's just say it was him. 18 months later, we come upon him and two of his friends planning a breakout from a forced labor camp where they are imprisoned. Once they get out, they have these kind of neck collars that will explode if they are not dealt with. So they go to a refugee camp where Fleetwood Mac takes them off and has some really fun lines back and forth with Richards. Richards is like, peace, I got to go find my brother. You guys enjoy being in part of the resistance. I'm going to go do my thing. And they're like, all right, bye, bud. When he arrives at his brother's apartment, he finds a beautiful composer. He takes her hostage because she's like, oh, fuck, I saw you on the news. You are like super bad. I'm going to turn you in. And she just says that, which is great. And he's like, no, I guess I'm taking you prisoner then because I can't have that happen. That sucks. So he tries to attempt to escape to Hawaii with her, dressed up as like a married couple. And of course, this leads to her screaming in the middle of an airport that she's being held hostage, and he is thrown into prison. Damon Killian, the ruthless and charismatic host of The Running Man, is desperate to raise ratings, which have completely stalled out. He comes across footage of Richards escaping the labor camp and insists on having him on the show. Richards, of course, refuses because he's like, I don't want anything to do with this, until he discovers that Killian has promised to spare his two friends' lives who had escaped prison with him and are now back in prison. So basically, Killian's like, I'm going to kill your friends unless you do this game show. So he's like, all right, I will be a contestant. He does. And of course, it's revealed that the two friends are in the show with him. It was all a lie, shockingly. They all get put in these really glorious sparkle gold jumpsuits, really, really nice, put into these little like metal contraptions and are flown down into the nether world. I don't know.
Nether regions.
It goes like some fast shoot. They have a certain amount of time to escape before the hunters are sent in after them. And the hunters are different. Basically, it's like a wrestling match. You've got like the guy who has fire and the guy who has chainsaws. And, you know, they're really known for their shtick. You have like a Mr. America kind of dude. So the crowd gets to choose which hunter will go after them, and everybody's watching and cheering and can't wait to see their favorite take down these contestants. So they start to try and run away, and of course, basically this show is them. Is Arnold Schwarzenegger taking down different hunters and saying amusing lines, so much of which are straight up ripped from several of his previous films, including, I believe, Commando. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Terminator must have happened before this because he does say, I'll be back like 3 times. It's real rough.
Only in reruns.
only in reruns. Yes.
That's right. Yes.
The lines are fucking insane. The jokes are so bad, but they come so quickly and so consistently that they end up being really funny because you're just like, wait, what did you say? Like, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Sub-Zero. Now, Plane Zero.
They're like, some of the time I was like, what does that mean?
I was the same way. I was like, that's not Plane Zero, I guess.
I know, it took me a beat. I was like, wait, what does that mean?
Plane
I guess
Zero is better than Sub-Zero. It seems like you've gone the wrong way with this joke.
Now he's a little bit cooler. And there's a lot of like visual gags constantly happening. It reminded me a lot of Gremlins 2, where it was just this fast and furious, consistent like joy fest. Like there's a poster in the background of the office of Killian that's like for the hate boat. That great TV show. It's just little stuff like that all the time. And you're like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Holy shit, I would watch the fuck out of the Hate Boat.
I know, right? So good.
Late 80s action movies. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly. I know the references are a little bit rough around the edges right now. So they talk about like Gilligan's Island at one point, and you're like, man, anybody watching it now who's like under the age of 30 is going to have a real struggle. But
boy, that was a push even then.
I know.
Gilligan's Island on in the 60s.
Yeah, I saw it as reruns. I think some channel was bored and was like, hey, they're cheap. So I saw a lot of Gilligan's Island, but I don't think I was meant to. So the rest of the film is, like I said, he's fighting and killing a series of hunters, which is completely unheard of. These hunters are basically just celebrities. And so the crowd is like shocked and freaked out until he starts just doing such fun kills, I guess, that this little lady, he's Killian's like, okay, who do you think is going to die next? And or who's going to make the next murder? They send in more and more and more hunters, sometimes in pairs now, to try and take these people down. And she goes, I think Richards is going to do the next kill. And he's like, you're not allowed to choose Richards. And she's like, I'm allowed to choose whoever I want. It's going to be Richards. And all of a sudden, everything turns. You have all these people who are like betting in a mob, like out on the streets and stuff. And everyone's like, shit, can we vote on Richards? Okay. And they just all are like Team Richards suddenly, which is really, really joyful. And of course, they end up doing a cool thing where they take over the airwaves. There's a lot of really cool, weird twists and turns at the end that are a little confusing and hard to explain. But just so you know, Richards does get his revenge, and it is sweet and full of puns. There's also some romance too, I guess, but it's weird. I don't think it's
jammed in that romance story.
It really is jammed in there. It's pretty odd.
Do they? So yeah, you just remind me. So they shoot them down into like this lower area, but it's like they're in a
street
city
level
or something.
Yeah,
right?
They're just in the city, but they're shot like down and down and down and down. But then they just come out like in the street level.
Huh, okay.
So I don't know. Maybe they're at the top of a tower somewhere. That might be it.
Okay.
Yeah. This film, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yay.
It was so fucking fun.
That's cool.
There is a movie that exists that I was so excited about. It was put out by Vinegar Syndrome, and it was called Death Row Game Show. And I was so excited about the plot and the concept. And I watched that movie, and it was probably my least favorite film of all time.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, I fucking hate that film. I hate it. I literally threw it at a friend of mine. I was like, I screw you for recommending this. Here's my Blu-ray copy that I spent too much money on. I was very angry. This makes up for that to me.
Aww.
This was what I wanted. So I'm so excited about it. So a couple of fun pieces of trivia before we nod away from this wonderland.
I mean, there's enough of those out there that could almost be a subject sometime. Is the Running Man style movie.
Oh,
yeah.
There's a lot of them out
but
there.
But are any of them as good as The Running Man?
I know.
Not.
I think I killed it. I think I killed it by choosing this film. The rest are going to be awful. A couple of fun things. The hunters in this, we have Jesse Ventura, who plays Captain Freedom. He was, as we know, a pro wrestler turned Minnesota mayor. Jim Brown, who plays Fireball. He has 52 credits, but he's best known as the greatest player in NFL history who played for the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what that means because I know nothing about football, but that's what I read, so I'm going with it.
That works, sure.
Erland von Lich plays Dynamo, who's this kind of... he's like singing opera, but also electric and like zapping people.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Very strange. He was in Alone in the Dark.
Yes, that's right.
Yep. Stir Crazy and The Wanderers. Not a lot, because unfortunately he did die pretty young. But he was known as an Olympic wrestler and an opera singer for the Helden baritone repertoire.
Wait a second. Are you telling me that's actually him
yes,
singing?
It's him singing.
That's amazing, especially if you've seen him in The Wanderers, where he plays one of the Baldies, and he's just this gang member.
Yeah, he just looks thugly. Cool. He just looks like kind of a squishy thug guy, and he fucking belts, and it is beautiful.
I love it.
I think that must be why they incorporated it. You have Gus Rethwish, who plays Buzzsaw. You would know him from Scorpion Kings, Twins, House 2, Second Story, and also weightlifter who was featured on the World's Strongest Man TV series. So all these people are like for real. And then last but not least, Professor Toru Tanaka, who plays Sub-Zero, can't even remember what his power was. Oh, he's
Something
in
with
the ice
ice
skating.
Freezing or something.
Yeah,
right?
he doesn't freeze anybody. They end up on an ice rink and he has a hockey stick with like a knife on it.
So he's sort of like Schwarzenegger in Batman.
Yeah, with ice puns filled in there as well. He's been in 52 things, but first appeared as a sumo wrestler in Little House on the Prairie.
Whoa.
I know. I need to see that episode.
That has got to be later seasons.
He was he got his start kind of the bigger role as a villain in Eye to Eye against Chuck Norris. He's been in Last Action Hero, Darkman, Three Ninjas, and he was the butler in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh.
He's kind of thought of as the successor to Harold Sakata. Yeah. Archetypal Asian henchman with incredible strength.
That the guy from James Bond?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a successful wrestler known for his gag of throwing salt in the eyes of his opponent. And he also served 10 years in the U.S. Armed Forces and became a sergeant. He unfortunately died of heart failure in the year 2000. He's not actually a professor. It just has something to do with his wrestling character. So
that'll work.
That was super, super fun. The weird thing about this film is that I think the problem was that they went through a lot of directors. So they went through at least 4, I think maybe 5. They started off with Rob approached George P. Cosmatos from Rambo 2. But he wanted to relocate it to a shopping mall, and Cohen was like, heck no, and fired him. Then Carl Shekel, who did something called Abwarts, but he didn't want to do the project because he felt like it was too large. Then Ferdinand Fairfax, who did something called Savage Islands. I feel like we're going further and further, maybe down the scale. I'm not sure. But Cohen also disliked his changes to the screenplay and fired him. Then they landed on Andrew Davis because of Code of Silence. And after 8 days of filming, they were $8 million over budget and 4 days behind schedule.
Oh, wow. Well done, sir.
I know. I think that's why the budget's so high.
After how many days of filming?
8 days.
They were 4 days behind.
4 days behind.
And
4 days behind. $8 billion over.
That's amazing.
So he was fired, and that's when Glasser was brought in because he had worked with Rob Cohen on TV series of some kind. I can't remember which one. But yeah. So that's why you ended up with such a strange situation. So when Rob Cohen purchased the rights to the novella, he did not know that Richard Bachman was a pseudonym for Stephen King. So he actually had no idea he had a Stephen King book on his hands. When Arnie ran for governor, he rode around in a campaign bus named after this film, which I think is The Running Man, which I think is beautiful. Richard Dawson apparently in real life is a lot like the character in this movie, which is a bit unfortunate.
I've heard that he was a real asshole.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Kind of sleazy. Watch old Family Feud movie shows. You're like, Jesus,
a lot of kissing of the contestants.
Mm-hmm. It was based on a Japanese game show called Trans-American Ultra Quiz. Where contestants were tortured in various ways, and prizes went to contestants who could stand pain and humiliation the longest. And it went on to inspire TV's American Gladiators in '89,
of course,
as well as the plot and settings of the Williams arcade game Smash TV in 1990. There's just everything about this is so joyful. All of the trivia is insane and strange. By the way, choreography of the dancers for the Running Man show, because they have dancers, which are great, done by Paula Abdul.
Very nice.
Pretty exciting. But yeah, there's a lot I could talk about with this, but it was great.
Well, you throw in Schwarzenegger, Stephen King, sci-fi, you're going to generate some trivia.
Yeah, I know. There's so much. I was trying to really get it down to the best stuff, and I still have way too much. The only other thing I do actually want to mention that is, as of February 2021, Paramount has announced a new film adaptation of the book with Edgar Wright directing and Michael Bacall writing.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I'm very
I'll watch
excited
that.
about that. Yeah. This is one of those books that is. So King would write as Richard Bachman to write, and he actually wrote those stories in a different voice than Stephen King. So they don't read like Stephen King books. They read like kind of crime thrillers. They're very pulpy. They're kind of mean-spirited, which is not how King usually writes. And the Ben Richards in the Running Man book is not a cop, and he's not a very nice guy at all.
Oh.
And the world is a lot, it's a lot more, what's the word? It's trashy, and it's not glitzy like the movie at all. And the Running Man show, which is super popular, takes place over the entire country, and everyone has a chance to kill him or whatever. So he's not up against other contestants or anything like that. It's just you can win money if you kill this guy. And stuff like that. And it ends in a scene that's pretty interesting for the time, but I don't think would go over very well right now, where Richards commands a 747 jet and flies it into the tower.
Oh my God.
Of the TV station.
Oh my God.
So I'm very curious to see what Edgar Wright does with this, because he said he wants to make it
true to the book.
And I'm like, that final scene might be a tough one to get past.
Yeah, sort of like It. The final scene of It had to be reworked. Was that part of the Bachman books, or was that one of the ones? So it was. Okay.
And that when he released
that big, thick book.
That's one of the few. I actually own a couple of Bachman originals, and that's one of the ones I own.
Nice. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, those are great, especially since that one story had removed. From the books, because it was like a school shooting story.
Oh, sure.
But those are good. Those are really good. All righty. So, we are still on the action theme. I will definitely do that.
Yeah.
Did a 2004 film called District B13. Has nothing to do with the District 13 from the Hunger Games. So this one was made in 2004 to take place in 2010. So I did that. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 80% critics, 78 for audience, which works.
This is a cool movie.
Yeah. It was made for 12,000 pounds, excuse me, euros. Translated, that's $14,123,760.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the box office was $11 million.
Well, that's surprising to me.
It was surprisingly unpopular in France, where it was made.
Oh, because it has some things to say about the French.
It's in my trivia, but I'll show it out now. It's because everybody thought it was too much like Escape from New York. The critics' things were it was just too derivative. And they just didn't want to accept it.
That's why I like this
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. That's what's a good part about it. But anyways, directed by Pierre Morel. This was his first film, which is impressive. He also did Taken, Clan of the Cave Bear, the TV show. And he's got 2 films in pre-production right now, so he's still working. this is an impressive first film. But it was written by who he had to be involved in some of the directing, unless because Luc Besson.
Wrote it.
And especially the opening credits. The opening credits are pure Luc Besson. It's they're moving through the world and it speeds up, and then it gets to where you want to see it and sort of slows down. And then it speeds up, it gets to the person they want to introduce you to, and it slows down. It's like it looks like Luc Besson shot it, actually, but who knows? But he's best known as a writer for Leon the Professional, Point of No Return, 65 other writing credits. You've probably seen something by him. And also co-written with B.B. Nakar, who wrote something called The Code, and did not work on the sequel, but he does play one of the main villains. I'm guessing it's more of a Luc Besson script.
Sure.
Stars Cyril Raffaelli, a stuntman with 49 credits, including Hobbs and Shaw, Taken. He's an actor featured in Live Free or Die and both of the B-13 movies. His main claim to fame is he's considered, I'm sure it's probably argued in some ways, but he's considered the creator of parkour.
Right.
First, or at least the person to popularize it. David Bell from Femme Fatale, Brutal Taste of Violence. Tony D'Amore, who's in The Messenger, story of the story of Joan of Arc, Luc Besson directed film. And Would I Lie to You? 2. The number. Samir Gusami has 137 credits. They're almost all French films, except for XXL and the Mozart of Pickpockets. But apparently he's very popular in France. So this, like we mentioned there for a little bit, this is definitely have a take of Escape from New York in a lot of ways. It's sort of 2 movies. The first movie is Hero's guy, the parkour man, who I'll just call the hero through this, lives in a walled-off city, walled-off part of Paris, which they've decided they can no longer control, so they just walled the whole thing off and let them do whatever they're going to do inside that city. But his introduction is he has stolen a ton of drugs from the local bad guy and is flushing them down the toilet or down the bathtub. So he's introduced as the good, nice guy of the movie. Of course, the bad guys aren't thrilled about that, so they turn up, and in what probably for me is one of the favorite scenes in the entire film, because it's the one that goes parkour the most, is him escaping from the guys. And man, it's a lot of fun to watch. It is so much fun to watch. No, they did not use wires. There are no stunt things. These were things they did. So if you think it's effects and stuff, nope. He actually is doing that shit. They lose him, of course, and the guns are gone, and they decide they're going to get back at him by kidnapping his sister. And boy, he quickly puts an end to that. And a fairly neat I'm messing up your plan scene where he just drops in and cuts everything that's going off. And what a shocker, the cops are corrupt. 6 months later, we start the second movie. This one begins with a new lead villain and very cliche, almost pimpy looking guy with a terrible mustache. Now we're meeting the cop, the guy who's going to end up partnering with the parkour guy to be the Snake Plissken. Two guys in one make up Snake Plissken because, you have to.
You can't any other way. If you don't have Kurt, then don't try.
And this guy, though, is much more of a martial artist. He actually is a martial artist, and he's not as much parkour, which I don't know, in some ways might have been a mistake, but this fight at least, is fantastic when they introduce him and what he can do, and he has to break out of the casino where he's just revealed that he's a cop and he's got to figure out how to get out without getting killed. And that is an excellent scene. It's not parkour. It's all action, and this probably had a lot of effects and things like that going on because there's a lot of guns. So that is revealed. We've now got the cop and our hero, but we don't know what's going on with the hero because we haven't revisited him yet from the prison time. But, oh no, the bad guys steal a armored car that has, for some reason, a bomb inside it, and they bring it into District 13. what do we have to do? So they call the hero in, but he doesn't know anything about District 13. Hey, we got a prisoner who knows a lot about District 13. So they kind of try to set it up as a fake out that he's going to be in the cop's going to be in prison and he's going to break the guy out and they're going to team up and work together. The hero basically immediately figures out what's going on. Says, I know you're a cop. I don't know what's going on. I don't care. I'm going off to save my sister because I don't know what's been happening to her for the last 6 months. This all is filled with wonderful action. The car chase stuff, although it's a little funny and they say, boy, it's harder to get in. It's easier to break out of prison than it is to break into District B13. No, it wasn't. It was actually really freaking easy.
Barely an inconvenience.
Exactly, yes. Once they get in there, they immediately screw things up pretty bad. But getting in was not that hard. Where was I? This is where it kind of becomes a ramped up version of Escape from New York. And by ramped up, I mean the action happens a lot faster because more than half of the movie's already gone. But they've set up, here's your code. You need to destroy the bomb. Will he go there? Will he make it? Will he stop the bomb? Is he supposed to stop the bomb? There's all kinds of questions. The reason I say I think the idea of him being a battle martial artist hurt the movie just a little bit is because they had to tone down the parkour kind of action because he couldn't follow the other guy.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like, I'd love to see another scene like that opening one where he just goes nuts over 4 or 5 buildings and stuff, but they don't really revisit it, which is, I'm sad. A little disappointing, but it's still a lot of fun. It's just a little bit different action. And the guy who plays his sister has great bits where the villain sets up the bomb in a weird way that if it goes off, it's going to kill her as well. So they have to save her. So it's a smart, well put together, simple, basic action movie. The 2 leads are incredibly good on screen. Nice charisma, good presence. Some notes and trivia. I gotta say, it kind of sits there with a film called Ong Bang, the Thai Warrior, which I've seen bits of, but I haven't seen the whole thing yet, as a middle ground movie, kind of between the John Woos and the Matrixes, which are now led to the Raid, Dread, the John Wick films, because they don't have quite as much action as those 3, but they have that kind of action. When the action happens, it's very similar to what you see in the Raid or John Wick. It's just Raid is almost all martial arts and John Wick is almost all guns. And this one does a little bit of both. It definitely has had some influence. The lead guy, it's David Bells, actually, the founder of parkour. The acting listing was in the wrong order. So there's, like I said before, there's virtually no visual effects or wire assistance. It's all original stunts. And action, it's some of the most that's ever been done in any European produced film. Because, if you think of hardcore action movies, your first thought is in France.
Right.
Another thing that sets the movie aside, which I really appreciate, is this was made in 2004. So we're talking deep into the heart of shaky cam time frame where everybody was trying to get the camera to move more and they did none of that in this movie. I think it's because they're smart and go, these guys are their own action. We don't need to try to make it look more kinetic by moving the camera around. We just need to put the camera in a place where you can actually see what these guys are doing. So like the perfect example of a more recent one is the hall fight scene in Daredevil, where you just plant the camera and let the stunt people and the stuff going on provide all the action. And this movie does that so much better. And it's so much cooler because they're really fun to watch. The parkour or the martial arts are both done well enough that they're well worth watching. Parkour, also called free running, has shown up a lot in action movies since then. Bell's done some of that. There's the Bourne Ultimatum had a lot of that. Prince of Persia apparently did, but I haven't seen that.
No.
It's bad.
Okay. Die Hard 4, which I did have Bell in it. The opening of Casino Royale, the introduction of the new James Bond had a really good one. It's been remade recently as Brick Mansions.
Oh, Brick Mansions?
Yeah, with David, I must have misspelled it. What a shocker. With David Bell reprising his role, but starring alongside him in the martial artist role is Paul Walker.
Oh.
It was actually his last role that was part of a final completed film.
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
I've never even heard of this. But
I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it. I'd be curious now. Although I still haven't seen the sequel, so gotta see the sequel to this one. The fight scene in the casino took 6 days to film.
Wow.
So they definitely used some effects there. But like I mentioned before, the movie was better received outside of France. The French press did not react well to this film and thought it was just too derivative, and they'd seen it before. So it made most of its money outside of France. So
I have kind of a random question.
Sure.
So Luc Besson was heavily involved in this. And it sounds very similar, but also very different to Lockout.
I was just going to bring this up. I was like, boy, he must have a real hard-on for Snake Plissken.
He loves Carpenter and he wants to be him. But for Lockout...
Lockout, is that the Stallone film?
No.
Okay, I don't know
Guy
if I've seen
Pearce.
that.
It's basically...
Space.
It's Escape from New York in space, and they got sued. And,
Yep. They got sued by John Carpenter and won.
Yeah.
For him stealing the idea from Escape from New York.
It is not that obvious.
I mean,
or else
this
they
one,
probably would have been sued as well.
Yeah,
but it's
that one
just,
had like a rescue important dude's daughter thing, and like there was way more in there.
Yeah, no, it has similarity. It has similarities. It's very similar, but so are a lot of movies. But no, it's not as direct.
Damn, Busan, come on. I mean, I love Carpenter too, but Jesus.
I sure liked this movie when I saw it, and I think I saw it twice. But it has been so long, and you talking about it has made me want to see it again. I saw the sequel, and it is not good.
Oh, it's not? Okay. Well, this one holds up. I was still plenty entertained by it.
I definitely remember it coming out and getting some excitement around it in the UK. But then, yeah, I think it bombed over there in the end.
Yeah. It only made, it didn't even make its budget back, so it didn't do. Yeah. It's more of a, culty kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sounded cool though. I mean, aside from the stealing, it sounds really neat. So I'd watch it for sure.
I wouldn't say it's no more of a ripoff of Escape from New York than most any movie is a ripoff of another action movie or something.
Yeah.
Sure. Die Hard on A sort of thing.
Skyscraper.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't listen to any of that because I was stuck in my head. Vanessa, the Running Man.
Sure. Yes. Okay.
Remember at the end where they, the whole reason he's in prison is they've doctored that footage.
Yes.
And then at the end they show the original footage.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is like footage in his helicopter or whatever.
Yes. It's like the actual shots.
But it's like, it's cut scenes and all
my God.
sorts of stuff.
It is so good.
This does not look like footage you would get out of a helicopter.
No, that was actually one of my favorite parts. As an editor, like basically they get slipped this little like raw footage from helicopter telling truth of what happened. And within like 2 minutes, they have like a montage with like music, and they have like the best of moments of different things leading up to it. And then they have the literal scene.
Yes.
I was like, and this is the bit where they went low with the camera and like showed Arnie over like his head out the helicopter window. And this is the bit from this angle. It was crazy.
It's like, how big a crew was this
in
footage in the cockpit of this helicopter? Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely not surveillance footage. It was real bad.
So anyway, Eric, what was your movie again? You want to talk about that? I had to get this off my chest.
You commented on it, so haha. I know you know.
Well, very cool. And Eric, that means it's your choice for the next
Yes,
one.
yes it is. So we'll do one I think will be, well, I'll be perfectly honest, because again, it's one I want to watch and talk about. But I'll hold off on saying what it is. Movies that take place in one small location. It can be a house or something like that. Doesn't have to be just like a room, but a small location, and maybe outside of an establishing or an ending shot, it's in that location. Like movies that pop to mind are like Cube.
Sure.
Anything along those lines that you don't really know what's going on outside the world they're in.
I can't remember. Was Saw in one location, or is that in multiple?
It might be. I mean, it's got multiple, but
it's got a couple of cutaways.
Flashbacks.
Yeah.
I love this idea, though. I mean, I'm a huge fan of some of those kinds of films.
Claustrophobic stand-in and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds cool. As usual, we should give big thanks to everybody who's participating in the value for value model, who's liking and sharing posts. Remind everybody that you, just like me, can be wearing your own Strange Eons underwear right now.
Or t-shirt.
There you
That's
go.
right. We've got that shop up and running.
No. Hopefully soon.
By this time, we should.
Well, we had to make sure the product we were going to sell was good.
Oh,
we had to get the demo things first. Yeah.
Well, my balls feel great, Vanessa. I just want you to know.
Oh my God.
I know that there's not a lot of ball talk this episode.
Oh my God. Why?
But these underwear cup them.
Forget this line of thought. Please. Someday we'll get through an entire episode where you don't mention your man bits. Awful.
Well, I hope that's never the case. But
Oh my God.
so that's it. Thank you so much to everyone. We will be back in 1 week talking about movies in single locations. Our show is recorded somewhere high above Naval Station Everett at the nexus of all realities and is engineered and produced by Eric Margaret. Our theme music is Strange Eons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find Strange Eons Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever fine podcasts are found.
Someday we'll get through an entire episode where you don't mention your man bits.